Hey, Bill,
Yeah, what's up?
what you thinking about?
Trying to remember if I had enough bait to the fishing traps. You?
Just thinking about our ultimate purpose on this island and whether or not every action we decide is of our own accord or dictated by some omnipotent unseen entity.
Are you okay?
You ever wonder what God looks like? It's him.
I've been animated.
Large man found washed up on shore proceeds to uproot a tree to prove to people he is a god. No, this is not a headline from Florida, but actually a one-line synopsis for the game we are talking about right now. Ever since I was a kid, I've always been into really weird and novel experiences, and if you've seen the previous video, games are definitely no exception. Even as an adult, I bought a BlackBerry phone just because I thought it was weird and different to type on a physical keyboard in 2018. Call me nostalgic or dumb, but I don't know, man, I just thought that shit was cool. So when I found out about Nintendo's obscure God Sim game where you play as a big naked banana man, I just had to talk about it. So, Doshin the Giant was originally released as a launch title for the Nintendo 64 DD to surprisingly positive reviews. Sadly, despite the decent reception, the peripheral was short-lived and both the game and the disc drive never made its way outside of Japan. But then in 2002, somebody in Europe was like, "Hey yo, bruv, can we get a game where you play as a big yellow man that picks up trees?" And then Nintendo of Japan was like, "What an oddly specific request." Alright. And then beat the deet just like that, Doshin the Giant was ported to the Gamecube, but for PAL regions only. It's okay, because we got Cubivore. Watch my Cubivore video! But hey, there are actually two giants in this room. Doshin, and the amount of time and money you'll be saving by using Skillshare! Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. And what better way to spend your time on a deserted island with a giant yellow deity than by learning something new? Personally, I've been spending a lot of my island time watching Mastering Illustrator, 10 tips and tricks to speed up your workflow, hosted by DKNG Studios. Honestly, using Illustrator can be a bit of a pain, which is why I really appreciate how easy and accessible Dan and Nathan have made the program out to be. Watching their class has definitely upped my Illustrator game, and I'm glad to give that opportunity to you guys for whatever you want to learn. Skillshare is actually giving away a free trial of premium membership to the first 1,000 people who click on the link in the description down below. And after that, it's only around $10 a month. So big thanks to Skillshare. So with all of that out of the way, let's finally pop this game in and find out what it feels like to be God. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. The game revolves around the player controlling Doshin, a yellow giant that one day rises from the water. Doshin controls pretty simply. He can jump, terraform the land, and pick up different objects. And pushing this button allows Doshin to throw away his Christianity and change forms completely. Explain this one, atheists. As Jashin, you can throw fireballs, smash the ground, and glide around the island using enormous demon wings. Oh yeah, and murder's always fun. Your responsibility as God is to care for the different tribes of the island until they build you a monument, which, to be honest, is a lot easier said than done for some reason.
Is that a fire? Whoa, everything's on fire! How do we stop the fire? Okay, tornado, please don't. Wow, did this really just spawn next to my town? Okay!
Villagers dictate what they need through little speech bubbles that appear over their heads. Usually it's things that are pretty simple, like moving a tree out of the way or terraforming the land. Other times, it's a game of who even knows? Like, what? I ain't answering these prayers, you're on your own. Performing tasks that help the villagers will reward you with hearts. Earning enough hearts increases the giant's size, making it easier to traverse the island and pick up larger objects. However, a larger size also makes it more likely that you'll accidentally step on them, which gives you skulls. Sure, one of these villagers actually likes this. Skulls have the opposite effect of hearts and will only make Doshin grow in his demon form, which, now that I think about it, the growing mechanic is probably more helpful in this form now that your goal is to actually step on your villagers. After you've met enough of a tribe's needs, or committed mass genocide, they'll construct a monument based on what color that village represents. Which, speaking of, is probably one of the more interesting things about this game. See, each tribe is represented by one of 4 colors: red, blue, green, and yellow. Constructing more monuments means you literally have to mix races. For example, taking a male red villager and a yellow female villager to an isolated island will produce a red and yellow village, and thus a different monument. Or you could just take both and throw them into the ocean. I don't know, I've never been a god before. But I think what I like most about Doshin the Giant is you can just ignore the monument building completely. Similar to games like Animal Crossing, Doshin is a very slow-paced and chill experience. While there is a goal in mind, you don't actually have to follow it. In fact, the philosophy behind Doshin was to create a a game that lets the player take their time and just observe the world. And while I'm not the biggest fan of that concept in terms of game design, there's definitely something therapeutic about caring for 2 villagers and watching them grow into a larger, functioning tribe with livestock and houses. It's like the game equivalent of being a plant mom. It's great. A lot of Doshin's appeal comes down to simplicity. No intrusive cutscenes during gameplay, a pretty non-existent plot. All you really have is big yellow man. It kind of gives the game an almost weird and mysterious quality with how little is actually explained, leaving a lot of interpretation up to the player. Nobody knows how this giant got here. Nobody knows what his goal is. What island are we on? What is this big monument thing? Aliens? There are aliens now. What is this game? And in an era of games where over-explained tutorials and hand-holdy experiences are kind of the norm, Doshin is a surprisingly refreshing experience. I highly recommend it if you ever get the chance to play it. I guess only in the UK. Hey guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Before you click on a better video, I just want to quickly plug the Black Friday merch sale on the merch store. We actually have a new shirt available. It's called the Alpha shirt. If you watched the previous video, you'll know where it's from. Make sure you show your friends you're the alpha male in the group, or don't and just be a bottom bitch forever. That's fine too. Also, quick shout outs to our patrons, Geared Odyssey and Pantsless Pajamas. You guys are great and I really appreciate your support. All right, take care.